So I'm just getting my materials
Hello,
ready.
Patrick.
Hey, Michael.
How are you doing?
Fine. Let's pretend that we haven't been talking for the last 5 minutes.
Exactly. Steely Dan is casting its shadows, right?
I haven't seen any of the full videos yet. I was at a Thai restaurant waiting for my food, and I listened to some of Dave's Safe and Sound audio, whatever. I don't know what his channel name is now. Dave from Texas. I'll just call him that. So Audio Excursion. That's it. I'm sorry. My apologies, Dave. I forgot the end of your name. But I listened to some of his live stream. I think he listened to the 33. Is that the UME one,
right?
The digital one? Does he? I didn't. Did he? Does he have the UHQR? He hasn't gotten that one yet, has he?
I don't think so. If he would have, he's probably have shown it and talked about it. Yeah,
has anyone gotten it?
I will get mine tomorrow.
Has anyone gotten it yet?
I haven't heard anything. No,
not
that I know of. Not that I know of. And big release in my opinion. So we get a bit into it. I think. Let me guess. You have Steely Dan, don't you?
I have a lot of Steely Dan. I pulled all my Steely Dan when you said what you wanted to talk about, but we're going to scale it down to probably the first 2 albums. But yeah, I have a pretty, especially for Can't Buy a Thrill, I have a pretty complete, I think, what people would consider to be, the ones to have. The only one I don't have, well, actually I do have that one. So yeah, I think I pretty
so you even have the one you don't have.
Well, I was saying, the Canadian version, but I just realized that I think I do have the Canadian version. No, I don't. I have the Canadian version of something of Countdown to Ecstasy. I don't have there's a Canadian colored vinyl version of Can't Buy a Thrill that I've had before, but I don't have it anymore. Other than that, I have.
You have a German pressing?
No.
It's not desirable?
Some people say, is it on Probe? Is it on Probe, the label, Probe label?
I don't
know.
In
the UK, it's on Probe, and some people say that that's really good. That is one that I like. Liam says that the Probe one is very good, and I've heard things about it, but I have not heard it. So that one I would probably like to get if I really want to do a complete shootout. But I mean, I have, I have 2 different quads. I have these 2. These are both quadraphonic. Two different jackets. And then this one
I remember that you liked the Pink Floyd quad quite a lot. Same here.
I haven't listened to that one in a long time, so I can't. I don't want to talk out my ass and say just for the heck of it. This one is the Speaker's Corner that's cut by William Mackey out of Germany in I think 2004. This is a pricey record now, very hard to find, but this one sounds really good. And last but not least, this is the same one that Chad had that he showed on his big comparison was.
Yeah.
Oops, that's right. It's sticking. It's this one.
This the white label promo.
White label promo. And why is this thing I just cleaned this and it looks like it's kind of wet still. What the hell?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to dry it again. But yeah, so I have the white label promo.
So Nick's loves the quads. Okay.
Yes, Nick is on the quad thing. Can't Buy 3 sounds phenomenal. So here's where this is where. So we have one person right now that says it sounds phenomenal. Where we have
the digital one, right? The 33 new one, yeah.
Whereas Dave, I saw his thing. He says he wasn't impressed with it at all, and but then again, I had somebody else. I heard somebody on his stream ask a question who thought it sounded good too. I think Dave said it sounded too aggressive for his taste. I haven't heard it, so I can't comment. So.
Interesting. Yeah. I think what I've learned from the discussions with Chet, that he for the UHQR really went the extra mile. He is very aware of the resume that comes with this project and what he's told so far, that he really went on it and back to Bernie and listen and back to Bernie. He really went the extra mile. So I'm very exciting to hear what the outcome is. especially we are talking about an already, at least when it comes to the originals, very, very, very good sounding album, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that they're not going to put out anything, you know, that doesn't at least sound as good as the original. And you know, I just got that Stand Up, the Jethro Tull Stand Up, and that sounds excellent. I mean, I can't.
So
I
you
can't
agree
say
with me that this is one of the examples where the reissue remaster may even be better than the original?
in some respects it depends. I mean, I can't say. There's something about the original that I like a little bit, which is more of the upper mids that are there, whereas the
British
analog
or
production,
British?
the British, the British,
okay.
yeah. The U.S. pressing of Stand Up doesn't sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So the analog productions has a lot fuller, rounder bass, and so because of that, I think it brings the level of the upper mids down a little bit, and so they both sound amazing. I mean, so I would have to
right.
I would have to. I mean, it would be like choosing, you know, two twins. If you have two twin daughters, choosing one or the other, you know, because they both sound really, really good. So
yeah, but in my opinion, the analog production has this certain more wow, appealing, warm sound to me overall. I can listen to this for hours because it's totally not fatiguing in a way. Difficult to describe for me.
the low end is so full. I mean, I mean, so that's the only way that I can really describe it is that whereas the low end on the original just kind of like thumps at you, whereas the low end on the analog production kind of envelops you completely. I mean,
yeah, very
it
nice,
just
very nice description. Yeah,
you know, so that's one thing where the analog production definitely is miles better than the original. Is in that regard where it's almost like you have like a blanket wrapped around you, you know, as opposed to sitting in front of a fireplace where it's just kind of if you move a little bit, you get cold on one side. So
okay,
so
that was a nice one. Yeah.
So Nick says he has 4 copies and he likes the Chad. So, you know, I don't want to disparage the original because the original, like I said, has some aspects of it that are more a little bit more. The upper mids are more up front and not as recessed in the soundstage to me. And
yeah, and one important point, Patrick, in my opinion, the original is the original and will ever be the original. So,
you can see that there's a little bit more clarity, you know, as far as like the upper, like I said, I keep going to the upper mids because that's one thing that stood out to me whenever I would listen to the two together. It was the upper mids on the original. That's about the only thing. And so somebody asked about ZZ Top. Yes, the first London press with the bell sound is the one to get. You can even get one of the later copies that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, and it sounds great. Sorry.
So, but please, for a second, if you don't mind, back to the Steely Dan. When it comes to the original, of course, probably the white label promo is probably extraordinary, right? This is a very good sounding one, I can imagine. Yes. Yeah. And okay, but besides the first this promo, which pressing would you say is the go-to get one?
I would get the original pressing. I think it came out on a black label, on the black ABC label. I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't. All I have is the white label promo. I don't have any of the other OGs. I got rid of all the other ones I used to have. And I think the very first pressings only had like a -B, -A, and nothing else on the end of it. I think those. I think when you get yours, you can let me know. But yeah, so it should say, you know, whatever the matrix number is, ABC, you know, whatever, -A, then -B without any 1A, 1B, none of that crap, just A and B. Okay. I think those are it.
For the second one too, same here. Same
Katie lied. No, Katie lied. They went to Kendon. So Katie lied was mastered at Kendon A, and you want to. For me, I have an original here. That's the exact same pressing as my as the white label promo I used to have. I used to have all the white label promos. Now I only have Countdown to Ecstasy, Royal Scam, and Can't Buy Thrills white label promos. Anyway, has the exact same stamper, and this one has CSM, which is Columbia Santa Maria. That's the pressing plant in the dead wax, and then you want to look for Ken Dunn A stamped in the dead wax, and that was the first pressing for Katie Light, and that was the white label promo that I had. So
cool. What have we here? It's interesting. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. I mean, the original and the analog productions are both great, and you are correct. Probably a really clean original is going to cost you more than the analog productions.
Yes.
That is very true, and that's something true. You should take into consideration whenever you're thinking about this stuff.
True. And also, I think when it comes to these comparisons, it's also an important factor on which equipment do you listen to it, and what kind of original do you have? Is it clean? Is it not that clean? Has it been stored good over the past decade?
And has it been played on? Has it been played on something that that was set up correctly? And so it's Flegel Sangria is John Bandy. He just can't remember how to change his name back. So
Flegel Sangria. Okay, we will get used to it, Patrick, won't we?
Yes. He's been that way for since Halloween. He still can't figure out how to change his name. So heaven for I'm doubting he can. He's supposed to be sending me one of those Steely Dan. So if he can't figure out how to change his name, can he mail a package? Can he handle mailing a package? That is the question.
Maybe 2 weeks after Halloween, he can.
Yes. Just kidding with you, John. You know we love you.
Yeah. Of course he does.
Yes.
So I can't wait for my UHQR. You will get a new HQR too and compare it, right?
Yep, and someone's going to send me the UME digital cut that was done, and so we'll have all those. So I'm going to be really burned out on Can't Buy a Thrill in the next couple of weeks. So, which is okay because Wax sent me all those Morrissey albums and 12-inch singles to record before he sells them. So I'm in the middle of a Morrissey Smith's marathon right now.
So and how do you get through? You like it so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'd never heard these before. So I mean, I had that one album. What's it called? Valhall and I think it's like the third Morrissey, and I love that one. That one, someone sent me that. And it was really good. But these are like expensive records now. Yeah. So I was really enjoying them. So.
Yeah, interesting point you put here. You also said it for the Jethro Tull. Before I got into this original hunt, I was under the impression from the things I've heard on many channels that an original very rare that you pay more than $5. But now I've learned differently.
Well, I mean, you could get a Chrysalis reissue that doesn't sound, that great for like probably $5 to $10. When Chrysalis redid that stuff. But to get the pink island label with the red eye on the side of it, and you're gonna pay up for that, and also to find one that's in good condition.
Yeah, I've paid for mine that was one of those Discogs things. That was before Dave. I think I've paid around $90 plus shipping for my stand-up. So
Manfred, are you talking about the stand-up? Because I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. So yes. Yeah, the U.S. stand-up does not sound even close to as good as the UK. And the UK comes on really for the era, really heavy vinyl for the era. Did you notice that? Was yours kind of like pretty thick and
True. True. Yeah, that's true. But do you have any idea? I mean, you're in this thing for a couple of days now. Why doesn't the American first pressing sound so different? Why?
Of stand-up?
Copy tape or bad copy of a tape? What is the reason?
I think a lot of I'm not a technical guy in that respect, but I think sometimes when they make the copy tape that they don't. I think tapes have they have like codes. You have a code. You have to like line it up, the heads, the azimuth, and all that stuff. And so a lot of times they don't line them up correctly. I know that was the case in like the Yes album. So I think sometimes they send the tapes over and it's not aligned correctly and it doesn't sound as good. And also at that point, you know, when they make the original, the artist is usually there and everybody's there and they sound
I
off
thought
on
so
it.
too. That this
You
is.
know?
I talked about this point with Stunty. I think the involvement of the whole crew, maybe not only the artist, also the producer, and I think that really can make a difference, right? If they are involved, this proxy to making it. Yeah. John Bandy, aka Fliegel Sangria. I think you would like the analog production stand up.
Yeah, you know, so that's so I mean, I think that plays a part in it, you know, in that, you know, when you're sitting there, you mix it down, you know, whoever's mixing it does it, and the band's there, you know, because I've been involved in a couple of albums that you know, and I was there for the recording process.
Okay.
And the band was there when they mixed it down. They didn't cut to vinyl, but they did listen to the final 2-track mix. And then they sent it off for mastering, and then they sent it back, and we listened to the mastering, and then, you know, they say, yeah, it sounds good. And, you know, so people do have checks and balances, and I don't think you have those checks and balances when you send copy tapes all over the world. You know, you have some guy who's paid by the hour to run the copy tape and do a mastering in most cases, you know. So I've never seen an original US pressing that was marked, and you know, I don't think reprise generally marked usually. So I don't know. You know, but I do think that having, you know, the checks and balances and the artist there or the production team there or the producer makes a difference.
Helps,
and that's what,
right? Not so specific, but I want to get. I hope I get some American originals for the first time, because this is very international over there. And then, of course, I hope to find some dealers for the OGB, the Buyers Club, but mainly for American pressings. And I'm looking very specific for an original Neu 2, because Discogs, I bought the German one, but I got the British one. Yeah. And
so do you need the actual green brand label, or are you okay with because they repress those on the what is it, the orange brain label, where they actually have the brain guy in there. It wasn't the green label. They repress those a lot. The brain people would use the same stampers, and they would repress down the line.
Yeah, but I have this German dealer now, which I'm in regular contact with, and he's also on this fair. So I will show him in a video. He explained that there are actually 3 first pressings in a way. You're talking Neu, right? Right now, right? And he said, but there is one, and he will give me the specifics about it, that I should get, because it's the best sounding of those. So it's not that easy, it seems. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole, but
I used to have a guy that would send me stuff. Like, he sent me all the La Dusseldorfs and, you know, and just
cool.
So all
Viva,
that stuff, man.
Viva too? Also Viva? Cool. Wow.
Maybe I'll play one of those on the listing hang next week. So yeah,
people will love it.
Or they'll hate it. So it's usually you're either going to love it or you hate it. I mean, it's like there's really no middle ground with that stuff.
That's true.
Yeah, the Steven Wilson remix does sound good. I have that as well. So I should probably do a shootout of those 3 and see which one. I actually have another pressing, the EMI 100 series that
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't say that so loud in the video, but now I do. What do you like about this Wilson remix?
Of stand up or in general?
Yeah, of stand up.
I thought it was interesting. I'd have to go. I'm gonna have to revisit it again and see. But I didn't compare it to anything. So I mean, I haven't liked any of the Steven Wilson remixes better than an original. It's like any remix for me. It's just something different. I never look at it as replacing. I just look at it as a different perspective on it. So the remix is never going to replace, you know, whatever my favorite pressing is, because I mean, that's not what I grew up with. That's not what I'm used to. You know, like as much as the Animals remix is raved about, and it does sound good, and it's got, you know, it just isn't what I'm used to. As you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like my childhood, you know. I mean, Pink Floyd Animals is,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's very emotional for me, you know.
But Patrick, very interesting topic. We now have the Animals remix, we have the Revolver remix in a very short period of time, and somehow I do like it better if they do a remix when they don't go the whole 9 yards. Let's say AAA, one of the top mastering engineers, plus 45 RPM vinyl. I do like the remix way better than doing a mediocre remaster.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So, but I mean, the Steven Wilson remixes are all digital. I mean, those are
Mhm,
all, you know, he
mhm,
gets sent the digital files and he
mhm.
remixes them, you know, which is, you know, I'm not anti-digital either. I mean, I have some great sounding, the Rolling Stones in mono, as I always point to, that
Mm.
sound great. So, but I mean, it's not my go-to, and it's not something that I seek out. You know, I need to get this remix or that remix. It's not something that I seek out. Like I got the Steven Wilson Yes box set remix just because I'm a big Yes fan, so I wanted to hear it. And a lot of
Mm.
people love it. When I did, like I said, when I did my shootout, half the people preferred the remix to the UK Plum. So, I mean, who am I to judge? I mean, if people like what they like, they like what they like. It's like, you know.
Right. Okay, what do we have? Okay, Steve Bandy again.
It's just a different presentation of the record. I mean, it's not meant to replace it. So if you look at it that way, you know, I mean, and as somebody
What I
who has
wanted to say,
no,
before I now get a lot of feed, what I wanted to say, with the remix, at least we get something different. We get something new. That's what I wanted to say, and that is for sure that we get something different.
and that's for sure what the record company wants too, is for
Yeah,
people to
yeah,
say,
of
I
course, you're
want you to
right.
buy this remix.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like his King Crimson ones. I've heard a couple of them, and his In the Court of the Crimson King. My favorite pressing of that, by the way, is the German stateside, which is the very first one. Is the stateside German of In the Court of the Crimson King, not the island that came later, but the actual the stateside on the blue label is hands down my favorite In the Court of the Crimson King. I highly recommend anybody who's into that record to get that pressing, and it's not as expensive
The
as the Pink
German,
Island.
you mean the German first pressing?
Yep.
Okay, not the Porky Pecco, which
Nope.
came a little later, right?
No.
This one, the Porky came a little later, right?
Yes.
It's not the
This is
very first one.
this one is on the stateside label. It's a blue label. The stateside
Mhm.
label is blue, and that I'm telling you, if you like this record,
Yeah,
get that
I do.
pressing.
I
I'm
will.
telling you, you will not be disappointed, and you'll sit there and go, yeah, Patrick was right for once. So yes.
For once, he was right, and this comes on the list for Dan Bosch because I have a good chance, I think, getting that over there.
Yeah, and it's not. It's like a $40, $50 record.
What would be the
40,
price?
50 bucks, $40 to $50 in general, which is a lot less than $500 for a Pink Island UK, you know.
Interesting.
But yeah, that is one of those hands down, just, you know, blow your socks off, you know. And you know, I always mention it to people, like, go get the German stateside, and they go, why the German? You know, because I'm usually a, you know, country of origin. I usually would have said UK, but I mean, my ears tell me, yeah, that's it, man. Manfred, you have that, Manfred? So if so, let me know. But yeah, I mean, I cannot stress how great that pressing sounds. I mean, it is, and it even has I think it even has the beginning, that intro on a 21st Century Schizoid Man.
Okay.
But yeah, so if you see it or your dealer has it, grab it. You won't be disappointed, Michael. I would be very curious to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, but the British first one is so expensive. Yeah, I've seen that. Around 500, right? But this is not the Pecco, right? The Porky.
No,
it's not. It's not.
It's a purely German.
No. But because I've read now 3 hours ago that if you go for a British pressing, get this Porky Pecco Island pressing.
Yeah, but that would be a pink rim island. That wouldn't be the solid island, and it's not as good as the German. The German, like I said, And the German was cut in Germany with a tape. So there was a tape issue in the Court of the Crimson King as well. So I think they lost the tape, and that's why. So
okay.
That's a good idea, Martin. Let me star that so I can remember once the stream ends, and I'll write that down. But yeah, that's a good idea. That is one that is definitely worthy of a hangout. And
you will play the German version then?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool.
That's the one I'll play. Yeah.
Can you do me a favor one time, if that even is possible? Can you do a digitalization without that you don't run this putting away this pops and clicks?
Oh yeah, I can do a bypass mode. Yeah.
That would be so. I would really like to hear it in that way.
When I save the file, I can choose to either engage it or not engage it. So it's no big deal to me. It just
that's cool. Maybe one day that would be. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, I can do that. Any particular album?
No.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna put up a post. I'm gonna write a post-it note for myself right now.
Yeah, I can do that
while we're doing this. But it's amazing how we get up on a tangent here. We haven't talked much about.
You're talking about the record, John, or with the clicks and pops?
Well, I already have the German court without the clicks and pops. That won't be on the listening hang. So.
Yeah, of course. A random title, Patrick.
Yeah, nothing I can do that. Yeah, I've done it before. You know, that looks like a Can't Buy Thrill. I think that looks like the first re one means recut. And people always say, well, it's a recut. Don't bother with the re -1. That doesn't mean that it's not good. Or it's not an original. So that should sound very good. There are some club pressings, and I have a few that sound, that are just the same as the originals. They didn't cut them for themselves. So some of them, like I said, it's on a case-by-case basis. So if you have a club pressing like a Columbia Record Club that has CRC on the back, but if you look at the dead wax and it says like Sterling, or it says like Precision, you're still getting the original cut. They didn't recut it for the Record Club. When they recut it for the Record Club, then you're hit and miss. Some of that stuff sounds horrible. So
I love this question. I would love to hear your take on it, Patrick. I totally do not mind some crackle or pops, totally not. What I've learned so far is that the most important thing is not this shiny new vinyl and no click and pop. The most important thing to me is that I get a good sounding copy, and I really do not mind the one or the other click and pop.
So from my perspective, I've gotten to the point now where if I'm in my car listening to the radio and I hear like some piece of music has like a digital click to it, I will literally whip my head around like, holy shit, there was, I get triggered by hearing this shit. I've been doing this for so long that I can't hear a click in my normal life without, it jolting me. So I don't mind the clicks when I'm listening, like if I have it here, but if I put my headphones on and I'll be working and I listen for clicks, and then I'll just fix them. I can repair them. If I don't have to have clicks, then I don't want them. But I also don't want to. There are levels of click repair that you can set that will detract from the music. So on the device that I use, I have levels. I can go 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. I never go more than 3 because I can always tell if I go higher than 3,
you hear it.
I can hear it. I can tell. And so I never go over 3. And I know people, that'll crank it up. If I don't go over 3, and then I manually remove the clicks, by myself. I draw them out meticulously and I get rid of them. But other than that, I do want the best sounding version, and I'm willing to do the work to make a clean sounding, good, best sounding version.
But maybe that is a bit, you need to do some explanations for those viewers who are not so much into the thing that you are doing, because maybe we have to explain that again. What you do in general is you listen with headphones and you digitalize vinyl records, right?
Yes, I
So
have a whole.
when Patrick talks about this, he doesn't mean that he sits in front of his stereo and equipment and his speakers and listening to a record. What Patrick does is a bit different.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't even, my main system downstairs that I do, where I have my big turntable and everything, isn't even connected to speakers. It literally is just made for digitizing vinyl. Now I have a nice setup in my living room with some Vandersteen speakers and a nice, digital to analog converter, that I do listen to stuff just for pleasure, But yeah, my main, now I have a system up here that, I have like a old Marantz and some nice little clip speakers and a Technics with a nice needle on it and a nice little phono preamp. But I mean, that's not for, that's just general listening. And like, if I want to play grade something for an auction, I'll put it on that turntable, because that's generally what most people have, like a nice little direct drive with a decent stereo, so I figure that's comparable. But
Patrick, you want to talk about your VC business opportunities? You want to answer to that?
Hold on. I wonder how many records of all the new purchases one of you gets to listen to in the next 2 months from the purchase. I live under the impression many VC guys here follow more the business. I don't understand the question, to be honest with you. Are you saying? So I don't get sent. I get sent records from people to digitize, and I send them back to them. So it's not like the record companies are sending me records or anything. So I don't get that, but I have people that send me records and I send them back. Sometimes they'll tell me to keep them. They don't want them. They don't even have a turntable. They just want me to digitize them for them. And in that case, yeah, but that's not the norm. So I'm not really, I think you're trying to say that, I'm assuming you're trying to say that many of the VC guys are trying to make a buck. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm
probably. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Patrick, any experience with the Metallica Columbia House Record Club pressings?
I don't, but I did have an interesting. So Robert Ludwig, I've emailed him a couple of times. He's been generous enough to answer me every time that I've emailed him. And I asked him about Metallica. And even though he is credited on Master of Puppets, but he said when Metallica went from Megaforce to Elektra, that he did the recuts for Elektra. So if you want to find a Robert Ludwig of Ride the Lightning or Kill 'Em All, go look for those, and he cut those. So I've been on a lookout for them since he mentioned that to me, and he did cut those. But I've never heard the Record Club pressing.
Hard to find? What
yeah, because now Metallica records, everybody just buys them, and it's just one of those bands that it's really hard.
I think Tool is even harder, right?
I have 2 original Tools sealed, and then another one that's those are worth a bit of money. Yeah,
I really did love the box they did this year. Totally addicted.
Okay, I mean, I just didn't really understand the question, so I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. But there are. I mean, so I've heard people, jokingly and but sometimes those jokes have a little bit of a dig in them. They'll comment about Michael here, saying, "Oh, Michael's just in it for this, that, and the other." Well, I look at Michael's home and I look at Michael's stereo, and I'm going, I don't think Michael really needs YouTube money, but Michael puts a lot of effort into his channel. And well, I mean, Michael puts the work in. I mean, you make a video every day, and you're
almost. I will go a bit back, but yeah, a lot. It's a lot, of course.
And I mean, and it's not just that, but I mean, you're also communicating with people, getting interviews, blah, blah, blah. So you put a lot of time in this. I mean, I put a lot of time in it too. I mean, I do my listening hangs almost every weekday. I do 3 live streams a week. Plus I do the digitizing of the vinyl and shit. So, I mean, I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I don't begrudge anybody if as long as they're not ripping somebody off. I mean, if somebody finds value in what any of us are doing, then who cares?
Totally, I totally agree.
I have your question tagged there, KeelTube. So I have it. So I'm starting to star people's comments that I want to not forget about. So So I do have it start, and then I'll, hopefully.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we can do that. But come, let's get into it. It's a good question. Why not?
But it's a hard question because
Okay, next question.
is it mono or stereo? I mean, I have a really beautiful UK mono that's in the low 8,000s that is immaculate. I mean, it's probably I'll never get an earlier version of that ever. It's literally in the 8,000s.
Sorry if I interrupt you, but what do you like more, the mono or the stereo in general now? Mono Beatles or stereo in Beatles?
It's an album by album. So for Revolver, I prefer the stereo to the mono.
Okay.
For Sgt. Pepper, the White Album, I really like the mono. I love the mono. I really do. I like because Martha My Dear is probably my favorite Beatles song, and I love how it sounds in mono. So if you want the best, my favorite stereo pressing is probably the UK white vinyl that came out in 1978, I think it was. That one sounds amazing. There's a German direct metal master version that also came out on white vinyl. I have that as well. That sounds really good. I think that's direct metal mastered. It has I still have it. I have a Dutch. I have an Italian. I have a lot of different. I probably have 13 or 14.
You're talking first pressings here right now, right?
The German wasn't a first pressing. The German was I think late 70s, early 80s.
Okay. Because I've heard from so many people I do highly regard when it comes to the quality of pressings, and almost everybody of them tell me go to very, very, very early first pressings. Those are in general by far the best.
For the Beatles, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you're talking. But for the White Album,
okay,
the original UK sounds great. But that White Album that came out in 75 or 78, I can't remember which year it was, is phenomenal. I still have it, and that thing is beautiful. It's kind of like Let It Be. The Let It Be white vinyl is beautiful. It sounds, to me, better than the original UK.
Interesting.
But
any idea why that is the case? Is there any particular difference you know of?
I'd have to listen to it again, and that's another one that I need to re-record and probably do a shoot. I did a shootout of Beatles for Sale when I first started this, and then you start getting into the whole tube cut, solid state cut, So because all the monos were tube cut. All of the Beatles monos were cut on the tube system. But in the stereo, you can have tube cut and solid state cut. Yeah. Well, I need to correct myself, because when they did the reissues, that's just the originals. The reissues.
We're talking originals here, right? Yeah.
Sure, we're not talking about the 1981 UK mono repressings. Those were solid state. But the reissues, all the monos were tube cut, whereas the stereos could be either tube cut or solid state cut, depending on the matrix numbers. They recut those, and they were on the solid state. What is it? The Newman system was a solid state one. I can't remember. But
what are the possibilities to pick out, when it comes to the stereo, the ones that are cut with the tube system? Is there a possibility? Are those matrix numbers?
Yes.
You should know. Okay.
There are matrix numbers, and I think I did this once before. I can send it to you, and maybe you can post it in the stream description, and I'll send you that, because it's not just -1, like for some of them it's -2, -3, and so on. But yeah, for the White Album, it's the -1 and -2. So, but there's a Steve Hoffman forum thread that they actually list them, and you can find out which one are the tube cut. And some people like the solid state better than the tube cut. And yes, the one box and the 2 box are usually solid state, but I have gotten lots of them that are tube cut, like the 1 box Sgt. Pepper -1 on a 1 box is a tube cut. So, and the 1 box and 2 box refers to the label. So the label will have the 1 box EMI, and whereas the 2 box has 2 boxes, has EMI Parlophone, I think it is. So.
Okay.
So somebody asked something about Deep Groove, and I totally missed it, so I apologize.
What did you miss, Patrick? Maybe I found something.
Somebody said, there we go, this one right here.
Cool.
If a first press appears as Deep Groove or not as Deep Groove, obviously earlier. Yeah, I'm not a jazz guy, so I am not the person to answer this question.
Maybe he's referring to mono pressings.
I think wasn't Prestige? Didn't Prestige like do the deep groove thing? And I know that Columbia had the deep groove thing for the early
You
pressing.
mean the label Deep Groove?
Yeah.
Yeah. Prestige did it for sure.
Yeah.
Liam, hello.
Liam, we were just talking about you earlier. So
yes, but nothing good. Nothing good.
Liam is the guy who likes the Steely Dan UK probe version of Can't Buy Thrill. I think that's Liam, great guy.
Sure he is.
You don't want to go in there, dude.
Yeah, I've just did the
sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. The Alan Parsons. I just did the.
I haven't seen that one. What was your? I'm assuming the UK iRobot did very well.
The both originals did very well, and this was really a huge surprise to me, because I think we also have been in agreement when it comes to the comparison of the MoFi Eye in the Sky and the Speaker's Corner. The MoFi is way better, right?
Yes.
We agree on that.
Yes.
And then I put on the British first pressing, and I said, "What? What?
It's the so Sky?
Good. Oh." It beat the MoFi. I wouldn't have. I would never thought. I didn't think that this was possible. It was a huge surprise.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard the UK.
Brilliant.
Let me see if I have. I'll have to go look. But so, how about iRobot? Which ones of iRobot did you have pressing?
Original. First British pressing, and again the original was better.
The iRobot. So the MoFi is not bad of that, and the classic's very good of iRobot too. So
yeah, but this is one of those cases, Patrick. Consider the price of a British original from Alan Parsons, iRobot or Eye in the Sky. You really
$10. $10,
maybe 15, and if it is 20. But compare those to and you know, we live in Europe here. To get an MoFi, a regular MoFi, is $125 here.
Flegel has the thread, so there you go.
Ah, cool. Thanks.
That's that's the tube cut to solid state. There you go. So yes, I have all the iRobots that you should have. You know what's interesting is I found a Turn of a Friendly card at for like $2, the US pressing that was cut by Sterling, Ted Jensen, and I just recorded that and I played it against the original UK, which I've always loved, and it was actually pretty close. It was really, really good sounding. I was amazed. So it's amazing once you get down go down that original rabbit hole, because there's so many different. I mean, usually with reissues, you're only stuck with like either that one or that's it. But with like originals, you can go, okay, the original UK, the original US, the original German. Those are usually the three people you got to look at in general when you're talking about originals. Okay.
The blind test question. Whenever I would need a blind test, I wouldn't say that there is a difference between the pressings. When I say there is a difference, and I can imagine Patrick does the same, it is so obvious.
Yeah, you don't have to be a blind test to you can hear the difference. So
it's so obvious, really.
But I like
really
when I do my audiophile challenges, I like to do it where I like to do it so people don't know what pressing's what. So because some people do have a predetermined concept of like, well, this is the MoFi, so it should sound better. If you take away all of that and you just let your ears be the judge, then there's no bias involved. So let's say that I bought a $200 Jimi Hendrix UHQR, and let's say that I was listening in my audiophile challenge against the normal generic US pressing, which would, well, that's not a good example because those are really expensive. Let's go Alan Parsons. So if I bought a $150 Alan Parsons UHQR and I was comparing it against a generic UK pressing that I got for $5, I'm going to be a little bit upset if the $5 Alan Parsons beat the crap out of the $150 UHQR. And so there's a lot of confirmation bias that goes on, and I'm guilty of it too. You know, I'll sit there and I will literally will something to sound better than it really is. At the end of the day, you have to just resign yourself and say, you know what, my ears don't lie, and this one I like better, and that's just the way it is. You know, you're not going to make something sound better than it is just because you want it to.
And again, this is really important. The difference are sometimes so impressive and so huge. There is no blind test needed. It's so obvious. If you have a revealing system, there's no doubt, because you know there are only seconds between changing the album. It's only seconds, and you still have the sound in your head, and then it's not that difficult.
I've heard this one. I don't like that era of MoFi. I mean, I'm not a big fan of any era of MoFi, but I mean the later stuff is better. But yeah, I didn't like these. I didn't like this one at all. And if someone asks what's the best sounding pressing, it's the UK with the tone in the dead wax, TONE etched in the dead wax, and you can get those up to, I think the earliest numbers I've seen for Crime of the Century UK are -5 and -6. You can get all the way up to like -9 and -10, and they still sound great. So that's my favorite. And I have the Speaker's Corner, which sounds very good as well, but it sounds completely different. The Speaker's Corner sounds so different than the UK, and the Speaker's Corner will cost you like $300. So, and you can get the UK Crime of the Century for like $10. So they made so many of them. Hey, Christopher.
Manfred just says that
sorry.
No problem. The German, these things.
Yeah, there was a box set that came out from Germany with all the Alan Parsons pressings, and I had it for a bit, and I didn't like those personally. I didn't find those to sound good at all back then. But it's been probably 10 years since I listened to them, but I wasn't a fan of them at the time. Okay. So I don't know anything. Like I said, I'm not a jazz guy, but I'm not an anti-direct metal master person either. It's on a case-by-case basis. I think some pressing plants did a better job with DMM than others.
Like always, Patrick. Like always.
Yeah.
Build your kettle of grades and hunt after, then search stores on occasion. Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
So someone asked me, where is it? So interesting. You should ask this, because I've actually thought about like actually making an app, you know, and because I am kind of computer literate, you know, I've done some database work in my day. So yeah, I've thought about making an app. So that's, if I ever get the time.
Be helpful. Yeah. With all the matrix numbers and stuff like that.
Well, somebody said, you know, make a book. Well, a book is static. You know, once you make the book, then anything that changes, you know, you have to update it, write a supplement. But an app with a database that you can update, that can be done anytime. You can make it fresh all the time, you know. So that's something that I'm looking into, that I would like to do, that I think is something that that could bring value to people. So
of course it could, no doubt about that. Yeah, Liam is getting into the Dire Straits MoFis.
I have a full set of those, and I have all the OGs. And I have the Bernie Grudman cut, I think Chris Bellman cut box set in 2012. So that's one of my next shootouts, is going to be the Dire Straits self-titled. That will be...
Let's do that together, because my Dire Straits originals are on their way. Great British pressing. The first two, I think the British pressing is the way to go. I don't know how it is with later Dire Straits, US or British?
I've always loved the UK original, the first press Dire Straits on UK. For Love Over Gold, the original UK was cut by Robert Ludwig, so it's actually a US cut. But it's easier to find a UK Robert Ludwig than a US Robert Ludwig of Love Over Gold.
Okay.
And Communique, Making Movies was cut by, what's that guy's name? Brian Hata, Hata, I think is his last name, BH in the Dead Wax. So those for Making Movies in Communique, I usually go US because those were cut in the US, I do believe. But
why were they cut in the US? Do you know why?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but I think that's the original cut was there. I'd have no idea. It depends on where they recorded or where they mixed. So Discogs has an API, Bill Jones, and now I'm not going to get into too much talk about APIs and shit, but Discogs has an API, so yes.
I can sell the one step. You want to do the DMM?
Well, the difference is, Direct Metal Mastered, I think they just cut to a copper plate. I think they just cut right to the plate. They don't even have a lacquer or anything. It's just cut right to the plate. That's what in layman's terms, yes. So Leon says
again, a DMM one step or three step or how many steps? I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is that every step has been done very well and with care and enthusiasm, and then the outcome will be good. I don't think.
So as far as Dire Straits, So after Love, what's the one after Love Over Gold? On Every Street, is that the one? It's called On Every Street? Is that the one? Is that with the blue cover? That one you need to get the UK pressing. You go back to UK for that one, for On Every Street, I think it is. You go back to the UK for that one because the US doesn't sound as good because it's like a 60-minute record. So
is it that long? Wow.
Yeah, I think it's about 55 minutes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a Robert Ludwig. Cool.
Well, Howie Weinberg does good stuff too. So you'll see a lot of HW, Master Disc HW. He does a really good job too. And was it Brian Kipper or is it Bill Kipper? It's Brian Kipper, I think. Yeah. Well, that's true. No one does. I don't listen to On Every Street. But if you do happen to like it, get the UK, not the US. And that's a pricey record. That'll cost you like $50. Is there any mastering engineer's work that you actively dislike? Yes, John Astley, but yeah.
No, because
as far as vinyl mastering engineers, yeah, there's nobody that I think sucks.
Yeah, okay. I have no. Let's stay with it. I don't have one.
Yeah, especially when we don't want to say anything bad about someone who's alive either. So that would be. Wait, no. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Ron McMaster, so I don't like. He doesn't. A lot of his stuff I don't care for. What is your setup, Patrick? So my setup is.
I didn't say that, Leon.
Leon did. I have a VPI Scoutmaster with the single motor flywheel, and I have a Transfi Terminator linear air bearing tone arm. I have a Phoenix Engineering tachometer that keeps the speed of my platter at 33 or 45, which is important with the belt. I use 2 belts on my single motor flywheel. I have a Black Ice Audio phono preamp and a Audio-Technica AT150 anniversary Frankencart. I call it Frankencart because I use a VM150 MLX stylus. So, and it's on a Ginkgo platform. I think that's about it.
Sounds nice.
Oh, I have Eden footers. I have these Eden footers that replace the feet on my turntable. So that's
any plans for next week, Patrick? Something special coming up? Or in the next 14 days?
Hopefully Steely Dan can't buy a thrill.
I'm sure within the next 14 days, probably, right?
I did get some MOV titles that I'm listening to, and so MOV started to do some metal titles that were very hard to find, and so they did one by a band called Satan, Court in the Act, and I have an original of it, and I just briefly listened to the comparison, and the MOV was way better. So the people at MOV, they know how to cut a record. Their sources may be a little bit, wonky sometimes, but they can cut a dead quiet record. I mean, every record I've gotten from them has been perfect. No, not a click or a pop, nothing ever.
Wow.
But I don't buy a lot of MOV titles. But some of them, yeah.
I just thought about it. The next time we will do this stream, if we keep up our schedule, about which title we probably talk about?
Which one?
Thriller.
Ooh, I do have that on order. So yes,
we will probably talk about Thriller.
I bought the Thriller because Esposito at In-Groove said it was so great. So I'm gonna go see for myself. So yeah.
I as MoFi doesn't deliver any records to me anymore. I had to find a source here in Germany.
Oh, so they literally banned you? Oh my God, really?
I don't get any MoFis, no, and not from Music Direct, at least, of course, other. And so I found a distributor. Even JPC has it here in Germany. Yeah, and
so if you order from Music Direct, they won't take your order. You're blackballed.
They take my order, but they don't. They take my order, but they don't ship it.
You're blackballed by Music Direct. Oh my God.
Yeah, forget it. It doesn't matter. But yeah, the Thriller will be thrilling.
That would be interesting. So I mean, I'm looking forward to that one and see what it sounds like. I have the original.
Yeah, I have several because I really want to get deep into it. I even have a Japanese one, Patrick. Can you believe it?
Ooh, yeah. I love those Japanese presses.
I know. But come on, once in a while, why not put it into the?
Is it that one that's the special that says direct? It says that one on the OB says direct metal mastered. Yeah. No, I've heard that one.
I can't wait for that one. But I forgot what I wanted to say. Damn it. Egal. Doesn't matter.
So someone asked if there was any good sounding versions of Journey albums. The Journey albums, especially the earlier ones like Infinity and Evolution, they were not recorded well. They have a funky EQ, I think at 10K or something. It's like, so they're not beautiful sounding. Probably the best sounding Journey album would be Raised on Radio. That one sounds, because it was mastered by Robert Ludwig, and it sounds pretty good. But there aren't any. But they're definitely not audiophile records at any question. So I answered that one, and we got that one answered. All right, I'm just going through the
Let me just answer this one. But I got MoFis before from Music Direct, and so not anymore.
You got blacklisted.
I don't know.
When is your Speaker's Corner coming?
Speaker's Corner.
I mean, I'm sorry. When is your Countdown to Ecstasy coming?
I hope tomorrow.
I mean, Can't Buy a Thrill. Shit.
Can't Buy a Thrill. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Have you ever heard these? These were done in Germany, I do believe.
Okay.
These MCA Records audiophile pressings.
The green one looks terrible. What is
it? This one is digitally mastered on Teldec version vinyl. So
see, even the jacket from the digital one is terrible.
Now, but this one is half speed mastered with the German. Yeah. This one sounds pretty good.
Okay.
But University of Vinyl, Tim loves this version, but it's not bad. It's a different sound. I don't know. I don't prefer it to the Robert Ludwig Gaucho, but it's. Did Bernie cut Captured? Oh, it's a new live album. Okay, so it's not they didn't reissue the Journey Captured live. Okay, gotcha.
But let us get it briefly back into Thriller. I want to have your opinion. What do you think that they didn't come to the idea that they let Bernie Grundman do a remaster of Thriller? This is so striking, and again, yet so stupid, isn't it?
I mean, Bernie's the guy who did the original. Why wouldn't you let him do?
Yeah. Just for nostalgic reasons. After all this time, I don't get that.
Did Bernie do the 40th anniversary of Thriller? Did he cut that one? Was that him that cut the 40th?
You ask me questions. Was I born at the 40s? I think I was still born.
So
No,
all right, so here's a question though. But why didn't Chad let? I mean, Kevin cut Asia too, not just Bernie. Kevin cut the Cisco. The last Asia reissue was done by Kevin Gray.
right.
So, but I think Bernie is more Chad's guy. I think Bernie's Chad's guy. Or is that
For the
not right?
Steely Dan, I think so, but not in general. Not in
So
general.
if he was going to do Led Zeppelin, who do you think he would get to do Led Zeppelin? Because Bernie did the classic.
I give you my out of my gut.
Yeah.
Ryan K. Smith.
Okay.
But this is just a gut feeling, because
Okay.
I can imagine that if he does it, may go this way. Maybe if he remasters them, if he does them, and if he remasters them again, I can imagine that, because he's a very talented guy, in my opinion. This Ryan K. Smith.
I like a lot of the stuff he's done. I think he did the Aerosmith catalog. I thought he did a good job on those, and he pretty much tried to stay true to what they sounded like. So,
but on the other end, this is of course the most unlikely version. So probably Gray. Yeah. If he does them, probably Gray or Gruntman, of course.
For early Deep Purple, are you talking about before Machine Head, or are you talking? So Deep Purple is one of my favorite bands. So if you're talking about Shades of Deep Purple, the self-titled, and Book of Taliesin, the original UKs are well, at least for Book of Taliesin and the self-titled Deep Purple, the original UKs are the ones to get, the first pressings. Now for Shades of Deep Purple, that's a clusterfuck. I mean, there were tape issues, and some people say to get the original US pressing on Tetragrammaton. I have the Parlophone. I have the original UK. I think I have the mono. I think the Millennium series reissue of Book of Taliesin. So I have a lot, but the first two, the second and third album go for the original UKs, and for the first one, just get anything that's clean. It's not a good sounding record. Just get anything that's early and clean. So that's the best I can do on that. Shades of Deep Purple would take a whole stream to itself to try to decipher, and I'd have to go look at my notes and articles I've read about that one. So.
And the later stuff, Machine Head, Burn, and stuff like that.
Machine Head, definitely the UK first pressing by far. Kevin Gray did a version that's really good, but the Deep Purple catalog, the Deep Purple catalog has been repressed so many times, you know, and it's all over the map that it's hard to. That's why I would like for someone like Analog Productions to just do the whole catalog and have all of it right there.
Chance. Yeah,
I know.
No chance.
I would like, but there's no consistency because you have reissues done over here, reissues done over there, reissues done over here. I would like some consistency. So, made in Japan, the DCC is the hands down best, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. If you want something, there, George Peckham, Porky Pecco, he cut the UK and the German on Purple Records, and you can get those for like $10-20 in good shape. Get those and you're good to go.
You're talking made in Japan here.
Yeah.
And Burn?
Burn, Porky did that as well. But get the A1, B1, not the A2, B2. Make sure you get the A1, B1, and the German's very good as well. The German is very good.
This would be the Deep Purple I would love to get, because this is such a childhood memory. I remember the jacket with the faces as a candle. It was so impressive to me as a 6-7-year-old boy. I said, wow, that was so cool.
Yeah, Burn, Stormbringer, the original UKs are the one to get. Come Taste the Band, they cut in the US. So it was cut by Kendon, and so it's the same stamper. Actually, Stormbringer is actually the same stamper in the US and the UK. So is Come Taste the Band is the same stamper, US and UK. So don't spend a lot of money on a UK if you're in the US. Just get the US because they're the same. And after that, you're talking about US pressings for Perfect Strangers and all that stuff afterwards, you know. But like Fireball, get the UK. Who Do We Think We Are? The UK. those are in general get the UKs up to Perfect Strangers.
Okay, let's go for another 10 minutes. Then we have our
Okay.
almost 90 minutes.
Ooh, Michael, you wanna weigh in on this? I know I have my opinion.
The ARC? Yeah, I love it. Great, great. I do love Forever Changes.
All right, so but he asked me about the mono. The mono is a fold down, so there is no actual dedicated mono mix for Love Forever Changes. And that's not saying you can't like it. You can't love it. I mean, I like the Doors' Strange Days in mono, and it's a fold down, some say, but I still like the way it sounds. So I'm not saying you can't like it, but there is no dedicated mono mix for Love Forever Changes. For stereo, I love the ERC, and that might be just a little bit of the fact that I paid so much money for it that I'm in love with it, but it's not. But that's not the case, because I can say that on that the second track has an issue, but the rest of the album is phenomenal. I mean, it just.
But this is so important, and I so do like that. The issue on the second track is on the tape.
Yeah.
And that's why we have the issue on the record. And that's what I like about this ERC releases. They give you a very close impression of the tape, because they do not do that much when it comes to mastering.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get rid of my ERC. I mean, that's one of my. I love that record. So
Is this your only ERC so far?
Yes. The other title, it's not that I don't like it, but their titles. I mean, it has to be something really special for me to spend that kind of money on a record, and so and that one. That was really special.
Maybe? The Doors, maybe?
Well, the Doors mono, that's a horrible sounding record. I can't even imagine how bad that's going to sound. It's a bad sounding record anyway. I mean, as good as Strange Days sounds.
Hasn't there been a mono release in last year?
Yeah, there was. I think Vinyl Me Please put one out. I think I have that recorded. It's just not a good sounding. It's not even good on the tape.
It wasn't that bad, if I remember correctly. The Vinyl Me Please. They put in the 7-inch. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, they did.
Vinyl Please. Right.
I did get that Doors box set, that vinyl box, the little singles box set that came out. That one sounds good too, because I have originals of Break On Through and Light My Fire Picture Sleeve. I have original mono promos, and those sound really good. I also ordered the Love singles box set that should be coming probably in the next week or two.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've seen that. You get that?
Yes, it's on its way.
Cool. But when it comes to the Doors, I haven't checked it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But Doors to go analog production 45 RPM, right?
Oh yeah, I love those. So those are pretty much untouchable. And I have the DCCs and the Monarch originals, or Columbia.
You already did the comparison, and the analog production came out as.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Those things are. I mean, that was a slam dunk for them. I mean, those things sound so good. I mean, just so freaking good.
Same with the Creedence. Have you ever compared the Creedence?
Yes. I mean, those. Yeah, those things just sound so freaking good. So good.
So same result, that the analog production are the ones to go, even when it comes to the originals.
I would say so. I haven't done a comparison in a while, so I mean, I need to redo those. I have redone most of the Doors, so I would have to go back and revisit my DCC and my originals, which I still have. Yeah. Best pressing of Rainbow, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. Okay, if you want the original, the original German is the way to go for that, because on the original UK, on I think Temple of the King, there's some distortion. It's on every pressing in the UK version. So I've had like 5 or 6 of them. It's always there. The German first pressing sounds way better and is really good. And there was a box set that was done in 2014. I have it. That one sounds really good too. That box set has some really, really good sounding pressings of Rainbow. I was surprised, but yeah, very good. And you can get some of those. You don't have to get the box set. You can go look on Discogs for I think it's 2014 reissue of Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, and it should still be available to get for maybe $20. And that one sounds great too. But the original German is phenomenal. So,
Love Forever Changes 50. Okay, I haven't heard that one. Have you heard that one?
I don't think I've heard that one. I'll have to get it because I have every other pressing of Forever Changes. So and Chris Bellman does good. I have the Rainbow Rising Gilbert Kong, Liam, and the box set to me sounds better. So the Rainbow box set sounds better.
Okay, then let's wrap it up. And as
Call
I
it a
said,
day.
next round we see us Thriller. Impressions from the largest
and we will have had Can't Buy a Thrill at this time.
Of course.
Thanks everyone for being here, and Michael for being such a gracious host.
I love when you are here, and of course, again, everybody, let's join Patrick's vinyl hangs. Always a fun.
Yeah, those are fun. It's usually about 1 p.m. my time.
I love them.
So we will be doing King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King probably tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. So
cool. There was a second title.
It was going to be La Dusseldorf.
Yeah, La Dusseldorf would be cool.
Yeah, I'll do that this week too.
Okay, Patrick, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Valerie, thanks for your great questions. You carried us through those minutes.
And if we missed anything, go to the listening hangs and ask again. Sometimes it's easier in the listening hangs to ask questions like that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not so many people. So yeah.
Okay.
So thank you, everybody, and thank you, Michael.
No problem.